Hello everyone, welcome back to the final video here on Classic Week, where we're ending on a high in my opinion, and we're going to be looking at the Sylvester McCoy era. Now, for anyone who knows me, Sylvester McCoy is my favourite Doctor, but we'll get to him in a moment. So we're going to be talking through his Doctor, what I think of his Doctor, what I think of his companions, some of my favourite villains from his era, some of my favourite stories from his era, and some of my least favourite stories from his era. So without further ado, hopefully you know the drill by now. If you don't, you don't really have to watch the previous videos in this series, but if you'd like to, I'd really appreciate that. So anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the video. The Seventh Doctor himself, oh, what do I think of this brilliant man? Well, originally he was a man with the demeanour of an eccentric, light-hearted buffoon. The Seventh Doctor darkened into a mysterious, cunning manipulator towards the end of his era. Now, this was something that I just remember watching when I was very young, on DVD, when they first came out on DVD, and I think I watched Paradise Towers or Delta and the Bannermen or something from season 24, and then right after I watched The Curse of Fenric, and I just thought, wow, because they're clearly the same Doctor, but this Doctor has such a character development change throughout his era. It's so cool to watch, and that's what I love about this Doctor. It's like we're exploring himself with the audience, so it's great. It's great. He is great, and I love him, and he can be funny, he can be a light-hearted buffoon, like I said, but then he can also be very cunning and dark and secretive, and I love that. I just love the Seventh Doctor. He's brilliant, and he is my favourite, so there we go. Moving on to his wonderful companions now. We did speak about Mel briefly in the previous Colin Baker video, but I'll mention her again because why not? I feel like she works much better with the Seventh Doctor. Yes, she screams, yes, she's very annoying, very 80s, but I think deep down I do like her. I don't know why, there is something about Mel which I just enjoy. Very cool, very Mel. And then we finally have Ace, probably my favourite companion of all time. Actually no, definitely my favourite companion of all time. You wouldn't think that she would work with Sylvester McCoy, but my god, they're literally my favourite duo ever in TV. They're so awesome together, and I really wish that the show wasn't cancelled, because I do feel like it was making its way up the mountain again. But no. Michael Grade, I think that's his name. I think he cancelled it, and I hate him because he ruined my life. Joking, he didn't. But like, still. So Ace is amazing. Mel is pretty good as well. Just so... I'm lost for words. But yeah, very good companions for a very good Doctor. Now, some of my favourite villains from the Seventh Doctor's era, I could have chosen most villains, to be honest, but I whittled it down to Morgaine, the clowns in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, and the Haimivores. So Morgaine is played by Jean Marsh, who is also Sarah Kingdom in the first Doctor's era. Now, she's so cool. She's very villainous, very strong as well, a very strong female character, even if she's being strong for the wrong reasons. But if you haven't watched Battlefield, in my opinion that's an underrated gem. I have reviewed that story on my channel if you'd like to go check that out. But very cool. Some of my favourite villains there. And then we have the clowns. Again, very creepy. I'm not necessarily afraid of clowns, but this story might have secretly revealed this fear that I may have. But my god, they're so creepy. Their makeup work, the way they move, the way they talk, everything about them is just gosh darn creepy. And then we have the Haimivores from The Curse of Fenric, which is probably my favourite story of all time, alongside Talons of Weng-Chiang. It's such a brilliant creation. They're sort of like little vampires that rise from the ocean, and there are some brilliant scenes from The Curse of Fenric with these guys in, and they're great, so thumbs up for all of these villains. Now we're moving on to some of my favourite stories from the Seventh Doctor's era. Now, I really could have chosen every story ever, but I whittled it down to 6, and I know that might be a little bit biased of me, but there is a reason why I love this era, and it's mainly down to the writing. I do feel like this era is very written, quite cool. So let's start off with Delta and the Bannermen, a very controversial episode, very Marmite. You either like it or you don't. Now, to me, this was the first McCoy I ever watched, I believe, so therefore it is going to stick in my heart quite a bit, and it's brilliant, I think. It's very camp, very wacky, but an easy three-parter. The Happiness Patrol, again, a very easy three-parter, just quite a cool concept. I watched this again a few days ago, actually, and I think I gave it a 7.5. I know that doesn't seem amazing, but it's just a very cool filler. And the Candyman, oh, the Candyman. Remembrance of the Daleks, obviously I kind of had to include because it's the 25th anniversary special, and it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Obviously we returned to Coal Hill School. Probably need to give that one a rewatch, actually, now thinking about it, but a very good story. The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, again brilliant. I've mentioned the clowns and how creepy they are, so very good story there. Battlefield, again I've spoken about that, and The Curse of Fenric, I've spoken about that, but they're brilliant stories, and Sylvester and Ace and Mel do great jobs. Now, some of my least favourite stories from the McCoy era. This is so hard for me because I wouldn't say any of them are bad, but these are probably the weaker ones. We'll start off with Silver Nemesis. I believe this was meant to actually be the 25th anniversary special, but it doesn't do much for me. It's quite bland and quite boring, actually, and also quite confusing. The Cybermen design are okay, but the story just isn't that memorable, unfortunately, and Remembrance should have been the 25th anniversary special, in my opinion, and I don't believe that's a controversial opinion. I believe that's quite a shared opinion, so yeah. And then Ghostlight, it's not bad. I think I gave it a 6.5, but it's definitely very confusing, and if you're very new to the McCoy era, I would not recommend watching this one straight away. I'd probably recommend watching Battlefield or Happiness Patrol or something like that, but not Ghostlight, because this is a very heavy episode, and I don't understand it, but I do enjoy it for McCoy and Algered's performance, because they're brilliant in it. So, I can't believe that this is done so quickly. The Sylvester McCoy era, definitely a standout in my opinion. Now, I know many of you won't agree with me on this one. I suppose that some of his stories aren't the best, and they're not. But for me, I enjoy them, and that's all I like, to be honest. I just want to sit down and enjoy a story with a great doctor and a great companion, and that's what this era provides. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this week. If you haven't, if you've actually watched all the way through, and if you have watched all the way through, first of all, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Just leave a little comment down below saying, did you enjoy it, did you not? I'd really appreciate that too. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that may be. Be sure to comment down some recommendations for video ideas, because I'd probably do them if you recommended something. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.